All right, so today with me are two young scientists, Shun and Kayley. I am honored to work with them in the lab at Chapman University School of Pharmacy. So Shun has been with me since I think 2 years, more than 2 years, and Kayley has been working with me then more than 1.5 year. And they are co-authors with me in several publications. Both are working in Orange Campus, Chapman University Orange Campus, the undergrad students. And Kelly wants to become dental surgeon, and Shun wants to become MD as well as PhD. So I want to introduce you to these people. They are the real American students, and I appreciate the working with them. They're highly talented, and let's ask from them how life is like in USA, and just a little more about both of them. So the Shun was born in Japan, and Kaylee was born in Korea, and but they're raised and assembled in United States. So how are you, Shun and Kaylee?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having us on, Imran.
Yeah. So, will you briefly describe, Shun, what you have been up to now and what are your life ambitions?
Yeah, so I just graduated in May, so I'm done with undergraduate. But right now, I have been taking a little bit of time to study for the MCAT. I plan to take the MCAT this upcoming January, and then apply to medical school this next cycle the following May. And then following that, I will hopefully get into medical school, do my MD, and then I'll decide later on if I want to do my PhD still. But the plan first is medical school.
Wow, wonderful. What about Kaylee?
I'm going to be a third year next year, and I'm currently studying GAT, planning to take it on August.
Okay.
It's coming up pretty soon.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm planning to apply for dental school next cycle, June. So
Uh-huh.
it's about a year left.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So, how is like here you actually do the high school first? Like number of years that you have spent so far in studies and number of years that you will be spending to become a doctor or dental surgeon. So, what will be the total number of years? I want to know more about this from Shun first and then Kelly.
Okay, so I came here, I moved to the United States when I was 3 years old, so before preschool even. And then throughout preschool, kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and then that has been a total of 17 years now, I believe, of school in the United States, starting with kindergarten. And then I plan to go to medical school, which is an additional 4 years. So probably end up with around 20 plus years of school in the United States for me.
Wow. And then if you want to do the fellowship, it will again engulf your 4 to 5 years.
Yep.
It's a long, long story, long journey.
Yeah, I am 22 years old and I can't believe it. So it's crazy. So
That's good. Kelly, so what is like if you want to become a dental surgeon, so how much years you are going to spend in your education? What you have spent so far and what you plan to spend?
I went to elementary school and half of middle school in Korea, and that's like 7 years.
Mhm.
And in United States, I spent 4 years in high school, 1 year in middle school. So that's 5 years, 12 years plus college, 4 years, and dental school, 4 years. That's, yeah.
I'm bad at mathematics, a number of years.
So 20 plus years, 20 plus years.
20 plus years. Wow. And I know I don't know, but like so you are financially independent somehow. Is it so? You are 22 and I think Kelly is around 21 or 20.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So do you do the jobs apart from studies or it's just only the studies?
For myself, I have been lucky enough to be supported by my parents for my housing and tuition, most of my tuition for undergraduate. But I do work on the side. I worked for the school as a biochemistry department peer advisor, as
Mhm.
well as a supplemental instructor for organic chemistry lab, as well as a peer lab instructor for organic chemistry. So I had 3 part-time jobs with Chapman University. And so I would make money through that, and then I would pay for my utilities, my food, everyday, day-to-day things, food, electricity, gas, water, that kind of stuff. But I have been lucky enough to get supported by my parents for a lot of other things.
Mhm. And I know that you also worked in hospital while being in undergrad.
hmm
So, mhm.
I did get the opportunity to work at Children's Hospital of Orange County as a medical scribe. And so I was able to learn a lot of stuff in the hospital as well and
And
get paid for that.
in addition to it, you also spent quite a bit of time with me in lab as well.
hmm
So
It's
it's not that hectic, you know. In your age, it's too much.
There was a point where it was too much for me, and so I had to back away from the hospital job. I thought I should focus on my studies and lab and working on getting a publication. So as a pre-med student, I feel like there's a lot of balancing that you need to do, and everybody's very competitive, right? You're going up against millions of other students who are just as qualified as you. So how do you separate yourself, but also how do you balance everything so nothing falls too much? And so it's a fine line between trying to make yourself stand out, but not stressing yourself out too much.
Wow, wonderful. And Kelly, what is your job experience?
Um, since senior of high school, I worked at the boba shop as barista.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked there for about 2 years, and over the summer or inner term, I worked as an intern and like fellowship at Chapman. So that gave me a little bit of side money.
Okay.
And next year, I'm gonna be an RA, so I'm getting a free housing.
Uh,
So that might little help as
oh,
well.
wow, wow. And in addition to it, you also worked quite a bit of time with me in lab. So how did you manage your studies, lab, and your jobs? It's too much.
I woke up early to do a little bit of my homework in the morning, and then I just like write the schedules like every day, and then didn't go on a phone.
Okay, that's good. So it's like it's different than in Korea or in Japan. You know a bit of them. So what is the difference between Korea and United States?
In Korea, we just study, study, study. No research experiences, no working, no extracurricular activities. And whenever you have a midterm or final, you get a ranking,
Mm-hmm.
like but whether you got a first, second, third,
Mm-hmm.
like it makes you really, really competitive, and no one's sharing notes with others.
Okay, okay. And how is it here?
It's really different. Like everyone is friendly, and then the grading system is of course different. I feel like teachers are more passionate here about teaching.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like welcome whenever we ask questions and stuff. Because in Korea, if we ask questions, they think we're stupid. But
Mm-hmm.
then here, they want us to ask questions and think more creatively. So
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. These are the very great thing, and same thing actually happens in Pakistan. So, what is your experience regarding Japan, Shun?
Since I didn't go to school too much in Japan, I don't know too much, but from what I hear from my brother who did go to school a little more, and my parents who, grew up in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
is that the US definitely emphasizes and kind of nurtures young students' creativity,
Mm-hmm.
definitely a lot more than Japan or I'm sure other Asian countries as well. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, as Kayley was saying, it's very competitive in Japan. Everybody's just, trying to get the best scores they possibly can. And the teachers don't really care about their students too much. They just teach. And then over here, it's like everybody's trying to figure out what you're good at. And so for me, that was sciences. For others, it's math. You know, there's different stuff that everybody's good at, but US definitely does a lot better job in trying to find that for you. And the teachers will help you in trying to find your passions, what you're good at, what you're not good at. And so I'm very grateful that I grew up here and, you know, was able to go to school here and figure out these things early on. So once I got to college, I can dive into exactly what I wanted to do and figure stuff out from there.
So what caused you to come to our lab?
For me, I met Dr. Tiwari at a open research day at the undergraduate campus. And I specifically remember he explained the work he was doing as like a FedEx truck. And so he was trying to find a delivery vehicle for our, you know, drugs. And so that really stood out to me. And I heard he was doing a lot of work with cancer treatment. And so one of my biggest passions, I want to become a pediatric oncologist. And so doing cancer research was first on my bucket list once I got to college. So I wanted to jump on that opportunity right away. And then I got to lab and met Imran, and who has offered me great mentorship and great help. So I've stuck to it for 2.5 years, and it's been a wonderful experience.
So what caused you to stuck to me for so long?
I think you really, you know, you expected a lot out of us, but you didn't force it out of us. You know, if we didn't have the time to do something, you told us it was okay, we need to focus on our studies, but you also did, you know, check up on us to see if we were doing our studying of the different things in lab, or, you know, seeing if we were understanding the material. And so that was really helpful because lab is something that we do extracurricular. It's not required as a Chapman student. And so whenever we feel stressed out, we don't want to be stressed out by lab as well. But Imran really did a great job of keeping us engaged, but not stressing us out, and really kept us on our toes sometimes. You know, Kayley knows that he would ask random questions and then we would be like, oh, shoot, did we study that? But that really helped. And your teaching method really helped us out, or helped me out at least. And
thank you so much. And so what Kayley what caused you to come to lab?
I met Dr. Tiwari on faculty research day. So I was walking around and I heard so many researches from a lot of different professors, but like a lot of professors explained me their research in a difficult language. So as a freshman, I couldn't understand their research and I just nodded. But then when I went to Dr. Tiwari's section, he explained me the research about how we use siRNA and cancers in such an easy language, and that like stuck in my brain for a long time. So I reached him out like after a few months, and then he was like, okay, yeah, visit me. So that's why I started working there.
So what was your first lab experience? Like, how did you come up, and, you know, what caused you to stick so much? You are doing a lot of work in the lab. And mostly undergrad students don't stay for long. You know, they come for 2-3 months and then they just go away. So what caused you to stay in lab for more than 1.5 years?
It was hard in the beginning. Like I couldn't really understand what you were saying when I first visited you, to be honest. Like you were saying, and I was like, that's gonna be hard. But like after a few months, like you kept like repeated what you were teaching, and that gave me like, it made me more curious about the research topic, and it just made me more interested in science, because I thought science is just memorizing and like learning the concepts. But when I worked with you, I actually learned that science is more creativity and you can go deeper and do more fun, like having fun about science. So I was actually having fun with you learning.
Oh, wow, wonderful. And so once you made your first peptide, what was your feeling?
It felt great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Very accomplished.
Oh, wonderful. And how did you mention that to your family?
My family can't really understand what peptide is. But they were really happy that I did something in the lab for the first time.
Wonderful. That's it. And Shun, same as my question. How was your feeling when you accomplished something, in the lab, doing yourself, with your own hands? And previously you used to do those things just theoretically, and then you were actually seeing things happening right in front of you. So how was that experience?
I mean, it was, it was the happiest moment of my time in lab is when we finished that W4R3K peptide because we
Uh,
struggled with it for so many days. But
yeah.
um, yeah, as Kayley was mentioning, like for me, especially when I started in lab, it was before I started taking biochemistry courses.
Yeah.
And as during my junior and senior year, which was my second and third year in the lab, we started learning more about siRNA. We started learning more about peptides.
Mhm.
And so the work that we were doing in the lab started matching my understanding of science and my studies. And so that really, kind of, it was a really good feeling to finally be able to understand all the difficult concepts in the lab. But it's also really cool because, in class, we get to share. Oh, in my research lab, I'm working with peptides to deliver siRNA for gene therapy, stuff like that. And the professors will understand and they'll have a conversation with you. And that's an exciting conversation to have. And then, it's always very exciting to see that kind of the work in the lab match your understanding of
And then
the
you did very
science.
advanced research. You actually did the serum stability assays yourself independently and binding affinity assays yourself independently. I mean, I didn't even like touch you that what are you doing, but you did it yourself and produced the data. How was that experience?
It was knowing that you work so hard, and then you allowed me to do something on my own for, the first time in a while. I really felt the need to, I wanted to make you happy. I wanted to get the results for you. And I wanted to get the results for myself. It was I was doing it by myself, and, I learned all the concepts in class and you taught me as well. So I knew I had all the knowledge to do it. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of fact, can I put in enough time? Can I put in, can I do the detailed work? Can I follow it step by step? And so being able to complete that all by myself, there was a lot of excitement and happiness. And I really just wanted to get those results for you and for, paying you back for all that you taught me so far. So
Yeah, that's I really appreciate. I mean, I really appreciate the team that we have, like Kelly, Shun, and previously we were having Jenny with us, and it is like fun. It's fun in working in the lab if we understand science, what we are doing, you know. And and interestingly, Kelly and Shun both are SURF awardees. What is SURF?
SURF is the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship. And so it's a 8-week intensive program that Chapman offers, where we get to work full-time in the lab, and really dive deep, work as a full-time, what a PhD student would do. We got to experience that in the summertime during our vacation.
Mhm.
And so we were able to spend a lot of days. Unfortunately, that was right when the pandemic hit, when Kayley and I were awarded it. But so a lot of our days were spent doing article reading, and that's how we ended up publishing a paper. But we got to see what life was like to be as a full-time researcher.
Wow. And how many students do normally get the SURF
I think about 18 to 19 people get it.
out of?
Out of, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's selected.
Hmm. Any
In
idea, sir? Any idea, Sean?
I mean, I'm sure because it's open to all disciplines, I'm sure over 1,000 students, over more than that, apply to it. And there's about 8,000 students overall at Chapman. So I'm sure there's a lot of students applying to it, and it's open to any major, not just science, because there's a lot of other types of research out there.
Hmm.
And so I'm sure it's a very selective competitive program that we were both awarded.
And you were lucky. I mean, I think that the students at Chapman in Orange campus, they are not that much familiar with the Rinker campus, and the Rinker campus is altogether very different thing. as compared to the Orange campus, like the work environment. And you find here all the mature people, and there are like all people are doing masters or their PhDs or postdocs. And while in the in the Orange campus, you find the undergrad students. So how was your experience since working in Rinker campus? Kelly, what was your experience? Like how do you differentiate between Orange campus and Rinker campus?
Um, like some of my friends are working at the Orange campus right now as a research student, and they have a certain group, like undergraduate students that they're working with. But I feel like for us, it's more PhD students like surrounded. So I feel like gives more like intensive and focused research environment.
Okay.
Like
What
more
is your what is your intake, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a strong believer that you are a product of your environment. And when we are at the Rinker campus, we're surrounded by very motivated, passionate master's, PhD students. And, you know, being in that environment, seeing everybody do their work, seeing them very late at night. I mean, we all know we stay Imran is a very late bird. He stays in the lab until 2 or 3 in the morning. So seeing others there at that, you know, around that time, or whether it was during the day, everybody's very motivated, everybody's very knowledgeable. And I think there's a lot to be learned from all these different PhD and master students, because they've accomplished what we're trying to accomplish, which is undergraduate and publishing papers. So being able to pick their brains, not just Imran, but other PhD students in the lab, being able to pick their brains and learn from them and kind of follow their footsteps in getting publications. I think it really motivated me and made me a better, more competitive student as an
And
undergraduate.
how do you think that this experience, research experience, is going to help you in your admission into the medical college?
I think doing research is, you know, anybody can do, I don't want to say anybody, but a lot of people can do research and spend a lot of time in the lab, but it's not common for undergraduate students like us to have multiple publications during our time as an undergraduate. And I think that really sets us apart from other students when we're applying to grad schools, because you know, we not only did the work in the lab, but we also did the work outside of lab, where we think about the manuscript and we think, you know, we do the back and forth between the peer reviewers and everything. And so I think it gives us the edge that we were able to persevere and really spend the time on writing an article and doing research.
Wow, wonderful. And Kayley is a master designer for me. She designed very wonderful pictures for our review papers. And how this experience is going to help you for your dental school?
I feel like in the dentistry or dental field, we value the artwork because we create the teeth, like how to like the make teeth, little details on teeth. So I feel like the creating the art, and then like as Shun said, that perseverance will really help. And then doing the research shows the passion about the science. So I feel like that's gonna show a good like aspect to dental school.
So the previous medical students, like what's happening during the admission process in the medical school. So what are the criteria by which they determine the candidate for the medical school? I mean, just your perception. I don't. I know you are not into the medical school yet, but what is your perception for admission? Do you check only GPA, or is what is like the requirement for entering to the medical school?
From my knowledge, and we've had a lot of guest speakers at the Orange campus, such as USC medical school admissions people come and give us talks. And so, yes, they do look at GPA. Yes, they look at MCAT scores, but those are very much just numbers. I think, you know, a low GPA could be made up with a good MCAT score, stuff like that. But they also really look at community service. They want to see that, you know, as a medical professional or a physician in the future, you're devoting your life to service, and they want to see that you are a person, not a robot. So you can have the best GPA and the best MCAT score, but if you're not doing community service, if you're not doing extracurricular stuff, activities to show that you are a real person, that you care about the community, that you care about other people, then I've heard that you have less likelihood of getting in. You can also do, you can show that you are a very motivated student, just as Kayley was saying, by doing research. It's all about, and sorry, lastly, you also need a certain amount of hospital hours, but the main things are MCAT, GPA, community service, extracurricular activities, and hospital hours, I would say, for medical school, from what I've heard.
Oh, wonderful. And what is your information, Kayley, about the dental school?
It's very similar to medical school. So GPA, research experience. For dental school, we need DAT, which is a test. And we also need extracurricular activities, volunteer, and then shadowing experience at the dentist. So.
Wow, wonderful. I am really thankful to you people for sparing your precious time and coming to me and showing your insights about the life in United States and the education in United States. And people here are more responsible as compared to the countries from where we belong, like Pakistan, Korea, Japan, India, Bangladesh. So we need to, in those countries, I think they also need to learn from the United States that how they, at the age of 18, they encourage you to become financially independent, and they encourage you to take the responsibilities of your life. And the world is not a free ride. You have to prove yourself that you are a useful person, not it's like just you're talker and don't do anything. So what are your advice to the people who are in those countries, and how they, what are, like, they see the United States from the lens of the CNN and LA Times and New York Times, but the real America that I experienced in the past 3 years is much more different than what is taught in the media. So what will be your advice to those nations, like the youth of those nations?
It's a great question. For me, I would say, just as you were saying, Imran, that media tends to kind of show just the flowers and the fruits of the US, right? So they show the beautiful parts of the US, but understanding that life is not full of, parties and going to LA and going to the beach and sunbathing. Understanding that, but also, keeping your head down, knowing what you want to do, and, keep on working to maybe someday come out here, or, find a bigger opportunity for yourself. I think most of the youth in other nations have that, but just keep working hard, and one day you will be rewarded for your hard work. So just keep doing your thing is my advice.
That's good. Kelly, what are your words of wisdom for the youth of the Asian countries and other countries who are not in the United States?
I just want to say that studying is not everything for them, because I feel like, especially in Korea, they think getting a good grade is the success in a life. But I learned in America that not only studying, but really finding your passion and what you want to do is a real success. So like, instead of just studying, maybe go out and then do something that really like makes you heartbeat,
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I just want to say, yeah.
I'm really thankful to you for coming up and showing, and I'm really proud of you as my mentees in the lab, and I really enjoyed working with you, both of you, and I'm proud of my group, Dr. Tiwari's and Dr. Parang's group. We did a wonderful job in the lab. Although there are challenges, it's not all rosy. There are actually a lot of challenges and things that we are unable to find the things, and we are going here and there to find the chemicals and reagents and doing experiments and fixing the problems. But it was overall a good experience. So how would you rate me as a teacher?
100 out of 100.
Oh, that's too much. Okay, and Kayley, for you?
I would say it's unrateable.
What? What?
Unrateable. I can't rate it.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, all. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. See you soon in lab someday. I mean, probably we are having lunch, group lunch, and you will be invited there. Maybe a couple of weeks from now, and let's celebrate. And I wish you the best for. I'm pretty sure, like I'm more than 200% sure. I can see right now the Shun to be a physician, and Kaylee to be a dental surgeon.
Thank you so much for having us. And if
Sure.
any of your viewers have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And Kelly, I will provide the social media handles like the Facebook or LinkedIn accounts of you. And if anyone wants to ask any questions, they can ask. Thank you so much. See you in next episode with some new people. Thank you.